Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we're going to talk about NWA, both USA and Powerrr. I've decided that since NWA USA is only like 30 minutes, at least this first episode was, I'm just going to couple it with NWA Powerrr if I can. If I can keep my notes that long. It's like I got to hold on to notes for like 3 days now. So we're going to do NWA USA first, then we're going to do the January the 11th episode of NWA Powerrr. All right, so the first episode, the inaugural episode of NWA USA, aired on January the 8th, 2022. So this show is all about the light heavyweight championship, and they finally announced that the light heavyweight championship match will be a fatal 4-way match. Why? I don't know. But everybody's fighting to get into this fatal 4-way match. So the show was built around Luke and PJ Hawx, who were going to be working the main event. And they cut a promo where basically Luke talked about, how they trained together, but they never once competed against each other. And he taught PJ all that he knows, and he wants PJ to do the best that he can. So, when the match actually occurred, there was another Luke Hawk insert where he talked about how much he loved his son. He taught his son everything. But now it's time to test him. Time to take him to the learning tree. And they had a nice little grappling match. There was no strikes thrown, no kicks, no elbows, nothing like that. After they shook hands and hugged to start the match, and then PJ immediately shot on his dad and took him down. So that was pretty good. So it was cool. Luke ended up in a Boston Crab a little bit later into the match. He countered the Boston Crab using his quote-unquote leg strength. He flipped him over, and PJ was pinned. So Luke Hawx pinned his son in order to go on into the tournament. I think he's going to wrestle Austin Aries next. All right. George South made an appearance. I was like, whoa! I can't believe NWA is really good about bringing in the legends. So George South was there, cut a promo to talk about, NWA USA. He got attacked by Wrecking Ball Legursky. Tony Storm, I'm guessing Tim Storm. I got Tony Storm on the brain, and who wouldn't? Tim Storm, the Storm that stayed around. This guy, I guess, is the commissioner or some type of authority figure on NWA USA. And he suspended the Fixers so they wouldn't be around for Colby Corino's tournament match. So Colby Corino was going to wrestle C.W. Anderson of ECW fame. That guy's that old. And anyway, Colby Corino defeated C.W. Anderson by putting his feet on the ropes. Okay, cool. Natalia Markova was mad at her photographer because the photographer was not talented enough to shoot her right, and said that a guy like him would never get a woman like her. I heard she actually got a WWE tryout, but she looked like a talking mannequin. Like, as she spoke, her face barely moved. And it was like watching one of those old video games, like Tekken or something like that. And like you see the lips moving, but the cheeks barely move, the eyes barely move. She looked computer generated. And I was like, what in the hell is going on here? Now, I don't know how I've only seen one match of hers, unless I've seen more and I just don't remember it. But just looking at her talk, and I was like, what is going on? She seems perfect for WWE. As far as all the surgeries and whatever she did to her face, I'm like, WWE passed on her? What? They love when people undergo the knife. All right. So the only other thing that really happened here is Nick Aldis and Chris Adonis both cut promos. Nick Aldis was basically saying who's going to stand out, who's going to make their big splash here on NWA USA, because that's what this place is about. It's about opportunity. That's why they call it NWA USA, because USA is the land of opportunity, and this show is about opportunity. This show is also about the national championship, which is why Chris Adonis was out there and saying that he's already the greatest national champion of all time, and it's finally the NWA realized he needed to have his own show, and he's the number one on this show or whatever, which is all good, well and good. I don't see how that matters though. All right, so let's go on to Power. The as a review of the first episode, it was kind of just passable. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. They did do a good job of covering a lot of ground in 30 minutes. NWA does a really good job of packing a lot of stuff into 1 hour. I mean, the best in the business at it. Next to MLW, NWA is really good at packing in a lot of stuff into 1 hour. You get a lot of shit done in an hour. So, in a half hour, they still did pretty well. But let's move on to NWA Powerrr. They started the show with a fatal four-way match. Number one contender for the women's championship. Kiera Hogan, Christy James, Genocide, and Kenzie Page. Kiera Hogan won this match with a fisherman neck breaker on Christy James. Christy James seems to be okay. She ain't stuck up the joint and everything that I've seen her. She's a pretty good looking woman. I don't know if she's ever tried to do WWE yet. I know that there's probably at least 2 or 3 women I've seen on the independents and worried why, Amber Nova, I think, is the other one. And I kind of like, what? WWE hasn't, have they even gone to tryouts yet? Because sometimes people don't want to go to WWE. Is there something to it? Maybe there's injuries. Maybe there's something else going on. But it seems like she's been floating around the independents a lot. Like I heard that Christy James actually did some shots with AEW. And I'm like, she hasn't had a major signing yet. She isn't like signed to NWA or, Impact or nothing. Like, that's very strange. And I've seen her name a lot and was surprised that she hasn't been picked up somewhere. But Kiera Hogan winning this match was very interesting, and I think it was the right decision. Kiera Hogan is looking to break out. She was kind of kept in the bubble a little bit in Impact. She was kind of kept in the tag team division. She wasn't really allowed to really break away and be a single star. She left the company completely in order to try to search out her singles fortune. And she thought she was going to land in AEW. And they were willing to, I guess, put some money on it. But I don't think she signed any real deal, and she was also pretty frustrated there. And she talked about it. And I think once she said out loud that she wasn't really happy with AEW, it was pretty much over. I don't think she's been back there since, as a matter of fact. But I know that people made a big deal about her jumping ship to AEW because people thought that she had something going. And she does. She has a little something going for herself. I know Kiera Hogan put a lot of heat on herself with the stuff she said about Sasha Banks. Not even the stuff she said about AEW, but the stuff she said about Sasha Banks put a lot of heat on her. With her saying that Sasha Banks stole her look, the blue hair and all that kind of stuff. And I know that got a lot of heat on her. But I don't think AEW would care. And I would think Kiera Hogan would be good for AEW. But for some reason, they didn't want to use her. And now she's in NWA. So she's going to get an opportunity here. She's already had a big match with Mickie James, which was very good. And now she's going to get a big match against Camille, which also should be pretty good. But Camille is significantly less experienced than Mickie James. So who knows how it's going to actually turn out. But this match had one weird spot in it where Genocide put Kenzie Page in a sharpshooter. And then Kiera Hogan put a sleeper on Genocide. And then Christy James put a sleeper on Kiera Hogan. I don't remember how that went. But it looked ridiculous. And everybody's in a submission hold. And it just looked ridiculous. I wish people would stop doing stuff like that. I really do. All right, so we got an OGK and La Rebellion promo where Homicide said that La Rebellion is the best, and he asked why the OGK are even here. Matt Taven, who is the voice of OGK and should be, because Mike Bennett shouldn't be talking, said that they came for the tag team titles. Mecha Wolf said that you guys are here because you lost your jobs, but this ain't Ring of Honor where you can do whatever you want. You guys have to get to the back of the line. He speaks perfect English. I thought Homicide was there to speak English, even though his English ain't all that great. But Mecha Wolf, who I think is Puerto Rican, speaks perfect English all this time. He speaks perfect fucking English. Anyway, I believe Mike Bennett said that it's not about Ring of Honor. They do whatever they want, wherever they want. And if they want to fight them, they'll fight them right now. In fact, they'll fight them backstage. They can fight them non-title. Homicide kind of told them, everybody calm down, everybody relax. May May Valentine was just standing there like, oh, she's such a statue, man. Anyway, they're kind of building this OGK Rebellion feud. Okay, cool. Again, for the third straight week, I'll say OGK fit here. They fit. But I'm not thrilled about OGK being on NWA and Impact. This is the negative thing about all the talent trading. You start seeing the same guys all over the place. Cardona is also on this show and on Impact. Okay? If they're going to just share talent, they might as well just be one roster. Okay? There's nothing more frustrating than that. A bunch of people, you're seeing the same people every week. You don't get to build any brand loyalty. You're just basically following the wrestler to and fro. That's a little weird to me. I'm not a fan. Jax Dane said that he's been hearing a lot of whispers that a lot of guys wanted some revenge. So he decided that since Anthony Mayweather, a.k.a. Crimson, they changed his name, and Matthew Mims, who is now called Big Strong Mims, they both want to fight him. So he says maybe they should fight each other, and he will fight the winner. And he's tired of the NWA honoring lame legends, like at the last show where they honored some lame legend, and this led Rodney Mack to come out there and punch him in the face, because Rodney Mack is like, "You're talking about my wife," and I was like, I forgot all about Jazz. I was wondering why he hit him. I was confused. He was like, "Oh, he's defending his wife." I was like, who? And I was like, "Oh, Jazz." What did he say? He didn't say nothing about Jazz. But he did say that he's tired of hearing about the legends and all that kind of stuff. I thought he was going to say that they're lauding all these legends who are not him. Because I think Jax Dane kind of considers himself a legend at this point. But Rodney Mack coming into the NWA, okay, fine, whatever. I don't mind that. Mims versus Mayweather. Mayweather wins by count out. Matthew Mims didn't want to fight. This was teacher versus student. In the middle of the match, Matthew Mims decided he didn't want to fight anymore, and that, this was just Jax Dane trying to manipulate them. But Mayweather is like, "No, you got to fight, put your personal feelings aside. This is just business." Mims left the ring because this is a stupid conversation for them to be having, especially right now. Mayweather leaves the ring too. The crowd is chanting for them to fight. Mayweather wants them to fight. Mims doesn't want to fight. They get to about 8 before Mims throws Mayweather back in the ring and lets himself get counted out. Interesting angle. I get what they were shooting for here, but literally didn't care. I'm sorry, I just didn't care. I appreciate the attempt at drama, though. I like that. I like when people at least attempt, storytelling and dramatics and stuff. So Sion, he's back. He's talking about people want an explanation from you. People judge you when they know who you are. And he talked about Faye Valentine and her tattoos and him and his mask. And he said that in the NWA, he put on the mask because he doesn't want people to judge him. He wants to be judged by his merit, what he can do in the ring. And he said he learned from Tyrus that he's worth more than the television championship, and that he wants the national championship. But he still did not leave any clues to whose child he is. And we are still all sitting with bated breath saying, okay, we need to drop some clues. Would it be nice if he uses like his dad's finisher or something? Like, that would be cool. Cool storytelling. But we didn't get that. Instead, we got him wrestling the human tree trunk we know as Judas. In the 5th match on the show, Sion versus Judas. Man, Judas cannot be worse. He is. He is the cure for insomnia. Sion won by disqualification because Sal Renaro, who is now brainwashed to hang out with the Sinister Minister, cost Judas the match, and they both jumped Sion and beat him up. Okay, sure. The Rude Dudes, Sam Adonis and I forgot the guy's name, but his name is Stanley. Was it Jamie Stanley? Chris Stanley? I don't know. They lost to JTG and Dirty Dango as Dango pinned Stanley. The match went on entirely too long. Aaron Stevens, who I was reminded now dressed like Eugene. He does look like a feminine Eugene. Anyway, he's still doing his Damian Sandow gimmick. He talks about how he makes the incomprehensible comprehensible. And with his actions, he makes the invisible visible and tells us that a war is coming. And I was like, I don't know. Whatever. So cryptic. I don't care. Jaden Roller got a television title shot against Tyrus. Of course, that didn't go very well for him. Jaden Roller has not won match the first on this program. I don't see why he got a title shot. I don't even know where this guy's come from. He's been on here before. I was almost certain he didn't win. The main event of the show, Mike Knox and Matt Cardona versus Chris Adonis and Tom Latimer versus Tim Storm and Trevor Murdoch. A triple threat tag team match. Really over the top. Because Adonis and Latimer really don't need to be here. They really don't need to be here. But Matt Cardona pinned Tim Storm to win the match. So Matt Cardona wins his first match in NWA. And all is right with the world. So a not bad episode of NWA Powerrr. A so-so episode of NWA USA. As shows go, they're fine. They're furthering all of their storylines. There's some stakes being discussed as far as NWA USA, but you have to actually care about, that championship. And it's been a long time since anybody cared about the light heavyweight title of NWA. In fact, it's probably been a good 40 years since anybody's given a shit about it. So Billy Corgan is trying hard, It's easier in today's world to get people to care about the women's wrestling that you were trying to reinvigorate. Talking about the Burke and everything. It's easier to get people to get excited about that than it is to get people excited about light heavyweight wrestling. Because it just features the same people they've seen already. The guys like, Austin Aries and Low Key, and those guys have been heavyweight champions in other promotions. Of course, these are guys that when WWE had their cruiserweight division, they were picking up. So it's very difficult to get people to care about a light heavyweight division. But God bless Billy Corgan for continuously trying. Keep trying, man. Build the NWA slowly but surely. Hopefully this thing shakes out for him. Also, I did notice that NWA Powerrr will now also be airing on Fridays on YouTube, and maybe I don't need to do the Tuesday review. I don't need to watch that show anymore. I could just wait a couple of days and watch it on Friday. I don't mind that, if we're being honest, but we'll see if I change my habit or not, because I really don't mind doing NWA and NXT on the same day. But if I can lighten my load by just doing NXT, that wouldn't be too bad for me. But then I would have to do Raw, not Raw, but I have to do SmackDown, Rampage, and NWA on Friday nights. And that's a little too much. If we're being honest, that's a little too much for a Friday night. I literally do have other things to do in my life. But, so maybe I'll change it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll try to do, maybe I'll watch that Powerrr, but then I'll just couple it with the NWA USA and put that out on a Sunday. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a community post about it for the people who do like the NWA reviews. I definitely want to put them together. But if they're going to be a day apart in airing, as far as NWA Powerrr is going to come on Friday on YouTube and NWA USA is going to come on Saturdays on YouTube, well then shit, I can just record them shits on Saturday and toss them out on a Sunday. There ain't no problem. And maybe that's the new format going forward. I don't know. It'll put some thought into it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, donate. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.